As I recall, the purpose of this Restore Illinois Commission was to provide a conduit between the General Assembly and the governor's office while we were facing uncharted territory in regards to COVID pandemic. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. How many meetings did the original Restore Illinois Commission have?
I don't recall the number, but I believe it was at least 10.
I believe it was 16.
16,
okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Do you recall how many of those meetings the governor's office was engaged in?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. Of those 16 meetings, how many of those meetings was the governor's office engaged in regards to having staff members participate?
A large majority of them. I think almost every one.
My memory is a little bit different. Matter of fact, I remember that you and Co-Chairman Murphy expressed some concerns in regards to the lack of engagement from the governor's office.
So I believe, I don't have our roster. I didn't know we were going to take a trip down memory lane here, but I think almost every meeting had staff, department heads, et cetera, from various executive agencies, as well as staff members from the governor's office in on our meetings.
Okay, my memory's with agencies, but not necessarily the governor's office, and I do remember some discussions of disappointment of the lack of that. Next question. Do you know of any pieces of legislation that was initiatives of the Restore Illinois Commission?
No, and that was not the charge or the purpose of the commission.
Okay, that's fair. What type of engagement was involved in the public during these commission meetings?
Several of the meetings were public meetings. I forget how many of those. Some were just with our commission members, and some were open to members of the public.
My notes say of the 16 meetings, only 3 were live streamed. And what's the intent moving forward if this commission is renewed?
I don't have an intent. We can certainly something that the commission members that we can all talk about.
Okay.
And I would appreciate your participation. You were helpful and a valued member. So if you choose to re-up, we can talk about it.
Well, I appreciate your kind words there. My last question, do you recall the only official request the governor made for input from the Restore Illinois Commission on an issue?
I don't.
Well, do you recall him asking if he could have input from us whether children should be able to trick or treat or not?
I believe what the governor's office asked for was whether or not the commission wanted to provide some input or guidance on holiday celebrations around Halloween. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that in my memory, that was the only time the governor engaged with us, was to ask us whether children should be able to trick or treat. To the bill. You know, the Restore Illinois Commission sounded like a great idea, and I was very excited to be selected to be part of that. And that was because we were entering uncharted area. We didn't know what this pandemic would look like, and I wanted to make sure the General Assembly was engaged. We were AWOL for 224 days in 2020 until lame duck of 2021. We don't need that commission now. We're back to work. We have 45 committees that need to be up and running. We need to be having hearings during the summer, hearings on such thing as the Elgin hospital lease, a lease that the governor's office entered into, paid $4 million for a hospital that was recently purchased for $1 million. It did millions of dollars worth of renovations and was never used. Leased a hospital in Springfield that was never used. Did unbelievable amount of work at McCormick Center for a couple dozen patients to be used. We need hearings on those. We need hearings to be continued on IDS and their failure during COVID. We need hearings in regards to the state police not living up into the law. They should abide by the law, and they're not living up to it. FOID and CCL applications are months and months behind. We need hearings to help K-12 and higher education navigate this challenging year that's coming up. We have 45 commissions to do this, 45 committees, to do this. We don't need one commission. We also need to continue hearings on the LaSalle Hospital tragedy. I would also hope that we had hearings to help our Main Street businesses try to recover from the most disastrous year that they ever have. We need to do this as an entire General Assembly. We don't need to provide the governor a talking point that he's working with us through this Restore Illinois Commission. I ask not only for a no vote, but I ask everybody to be willing to continue to work hard to help the state of Illinois. Please vote no on this bill.